Is it right to bring a child into the world if the father has already died? I don't know if what I did was selfish, brave, or just my way of not letting everything die with him. All I know is I needed it. My husband and I were trying for a baby. Nothing too strict or scheduled, but we had started dreaming out loud. Then the unthinkable happened. During a trip to Australia, while diving, he had an accident and died. Just like that. One of those days that starts normal and ends with your entire world shattered. In the middle of the shock, the paperwork, the grief, someone, maybe a doctor or a friend, told me about post-mortem sperm retrieval, that it was possible, if I acted quickly, that I could, quite literally, have a part of him still with me, alive. I didn't rush into it. I cried. I hesitated. I hated myself for even considering it. Was it fair to the child? Was it fair to him? But then I remembered all the times we talked about being parents, how his eyes would light up, and I thought, I'm not stealing anything, I'm honoring what we already dreamed together. The retrieval was done just hours after his death. The process was brutal. Physically, emotionally, legally. I had to fight with institutions, paperwork, even relatives who didn't understand. But I went through with it. Today, I have a baby. Our baby. And yes, he'll grow up without his father, but not without his story. I'll tell him who his dad was, how he loved the ocean, how he laughed at dumb jokes, how we dreamed about him before he even existed. Was it the right thing to do? I honestly don't know. But I don't regret it.
I gave my husband permission to defend me. I work in an office with a pretty toxic vibe. Lots of passive-aggressive comments, gossip, and one guy in particular who always throws weird jokes and uncomfortable remarks at me. Not direct harassment, but enough to wear me down. One day, after venting, again, my husband asked, "Do you want me to talk to him?" I said no. I didn't want to create drama, but by the third time I cried at home, he looked at me seriously and said, "Just give me permission. That's all." And I did. I thought he might send a message or have a calm word. But no. He showed up at my office, literally came to find the guy, waited in the lobby, and when my coworker came down, he said in front of everyone, "So you're the clown who thinks he's funny with my wife." People froze. My boss came out. The guy tried to play dumb, but my husband didn't stop. He didn't touch him, but said things I'd never dare to even think out loud. The result? That guy never spoke to me again. But now people at work look at me like I'm the one who brought her husband to fight her battles. Was I a little embarrassed? Yes. Did I feel exposed? For sure. Did I feel protected like never before? Absolutely.
My dad brought his new girlfriend to dinner. It was my old high school teacher. I thought it was a joke. My dad is 54. I'm 27. The woman he brought to dinner? She's 38. That's just 11 years older than me. And yes, I recognized her the second she walked through the door. She was my math teacher in high school. The one who failed me twice. The one who docked points for attitude. They kissed, and my dad said proudly, "I want you to meet Monica. She's an amazing woman." I just froze. All I managed to say was, "Yeah, we've met." Monica pretended not to recognize me. She said, "Nice to meet you." I almost laughed. Dinner was weird. My dad kept praising her. She told stories from her teaching days without making eye contact with me. Then my dad dropped this. "We're thinking of moving in together." That's when I spoke up. I said, "Did you know she used to humiliate me in class? That she took points off just because she didn't like me?" Monica froze, and my dad told me I was being immature and that it was all in the past. I don't know what's worse, that my dad is dating someone who made my life hell, or that she pretended not to know me just to avoid admitting who she really was.
I was scammed by people using AI. I never thought I'd share this. But if it helps someone else avoid the same thing, it's worth it. A few months ago, I started chatting on Instagram with someone claiming to be a famous actor. I won't say the name, but he's everywhere right now. He messaged me first. He was kind, respectful, nothing seemed off at first. I was surprised, but thought, why not? The conversations got more personal over time. He sent voice notes, even short videos saying my name. Everything seemed so real. One day, he said he wanted to meet me, but couldn't make it public yet, and that he needed help moving money privately. It started with small amounts, then larger transfers, all temporary, just until a legal issue was cleared up. By the time I realized it, I had already sent over $50,000. Then he disappeared. I looked at everything again, with a clearer head, and saw the things I had ignored before. The photos were edited, the voice notes were AI generated, the videos had slight lip sync issues. Everything was fake. I contacted the authorities and they told me this kind of scam is growing fast. They use AI to impersonate people, build trust, and manipulate you. I felt stupid. Not for trusting, but for ignoring all the signs. And the worst part? Sometimes I still want to believe it was really him.
I went to my ex's wedding and regretted leaving him. I don't know when I thought going to his wedding was a good idea. Maybe pride, maybe curiosity. I left him 2 years ago because I needed to be alone, but deep down, I was just scared he was too perfect, too good for me. He was always patient, thoughtful, even when I ghosted him or canceled plans with dumb excuses. And still, he looked at me like I was worth all the chaos. But there he was, standing at the end of the aisle, smiling in a way I'd never seen when we were together. And his new wife, she looked sure of herself, loved, like she owned his world. When they said, "You may kiss the bride," I felt a knot so tight I could barely clap. I hated myself for letting him go, for thinking he'd always wait. On the way out, he saw me, gave me that same look that used to be just and smiled, like losing me didn't hurt anymore. Yeah, I kicked the perfect guy out of my life. I just realized it too late.
I just said cat and got roasted by a stranger. My wife and I were out for a walk one afternoon, just chatting and minding our business. We passed by a house where a huge cat was lying in the sun. I pointed and said, "Look at that cat, it's massive." Out of nowhere, this older guy walking past us looked right at me and said, "You're the massive one, short and dusty." We just froze. I didn't know him, never even made eye contact. And he just kept walking like that was totally normal. Now, every time I see a fat cat, I check who's around, just in case.
My daughter has memories of a place she's never been to. My daughter is 4. She's really smart for her age, speaks clearly, and sometimes says things that send chills down my spine. Lately, she's been telling me about her other house. At first, I thought it was just a game, like when kids make up imaginary families. But then she started giving a lot of details. She says in her other house, she lived with a lady who wasn't her mom, but took care of her. There was a gray cat that slept in her bed. The floor made noises at night. There was a window with bars. And she couldn't go outside alone, because if I did, the angry man would come. I asked her what the lady's name was. She said, "I don't remember. I just called her Grandma, but not like the grandma I have now." One day, while we were playing, she said, "It's prettier here. No one locks me up here." I asked who used to lock her up. She looked at me, serious, and said, "Doesn't matter. He can't find me now." The strangest part? When she describes that other house, she uses words we never use. She said storeroom instead of playroom, gallery instead of patio, latch instead of lock. Words we don't use, not even on television. Is it just imagination? Reincarnation? Something she overheard somewhere? I don't know. But every time she talks about that place, it's in past tense. And she always ends with, "Good thing I'm here now."
I gave my brother a camera, and it saved his life. I'm not paranoid, just cautious. A few months ago, I started seeing too many stories about guys getting falsely accused. No evidence, just someone's word and their lives ruined. So I bought my brother a small camera. I told him, "Record everything when you go out, just in case." At first, he laughed, thought I was being dramatic, but he wore it anyway, for me. One day, after leaving the gym, a girl started screaming that he'd followed and touched her. Within seconds, people were surrounding him, yelling, filming, but he pulled out his camera. The footage showed it all him walking with headphones in, never even looking at her, not a word. When the cops saw it, they let him go. She got arrested for making a false report. That camera didn't just save the moment. It saved his life.
I completed the restaurant challenge, but they refused to pay. I went to a restaurant that had a challenge finish, a massive meal in under 30 minutes, and it's free. I've got a good appetite, so I went for it. I recorded everything just in case. From the first bite to the last, it took me 26 minutes. No edits, no cuts, everything on camera. I called the waiter over and said, "Done. Where do I sign to get it free?" He went to get the manager. The guy checked the plate, saw the timer, and said, "Doesn't count. You were supposed to tell us when you started." I showed him the footage. You could see the restaurant's clock, the food, everything. He still refused, said it was part of their internal rules. I didn't argue. I paid and left. The next day, I uploaded the full video with the story. It went viral. Thousands of people commented. Some even cancelled their bookings. A week later, they messaged me with an apology and a full refund. So yeah, I ate for free, just not how they expected.
I drove her to a nursing home, and she begged me not to leave her there. I'm a taxi driver. I was hired to take an elderly woman to a specific address. They said it was a regular ride, nothing to worry about. When I picked her up, she had a small bag with sweaters and a notebook. She was quiet until she saw the nursing home sign. That's when she started shaking. "Where are we going?" she asked softly. "It's the address they gave me. Is everything okay?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I promise I won't be a bother. I'll stay in my room, I won't talk. Just don't leave me there." She told me she'd been living with her son and his wife. Lately, they'd whisper when she walked by. That morning, they told her they were taking her out for lunch. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to take her anywhere else, but I was just the driver. I helped her out. She walked slowly, dragging her feet. Before stepping in, she held onto my arm and said, "Thank you for not treating me like a burden." I sat in the car for a full minute before I could drive off.
I told my landlord I'd repaint the apartment, and I did. Literally. My landlord said he wouldn't return my deposit because the walls had marks. The marks? 2 tiny nail holes. I told him no problem, I'd leave the place, like new. So I got to work. Went to the hardware store, bought paint, but not beige. Not white. Matte black. The kind that swallows light. I painted everything. Walls, ceiling, door frame, even inside the closet. The whole room looked like a black hole in space. I left him a note that said, "No marks, just like you asked." He blocked me on WhatsApp, but he can't block the law. I filed a claim for illegally holding my deposit, and I have pictures. Very dark ones.
I gave money to a homeless man by mistake. One time on the bus, I was distracted. I got on, took out my fare, and saw a man near the front cap on, backpack over his shoulder. I thought he was the fare collector. I handed him the money, and he took it without saying a word. I kept walking until I saw the real fare collector further down. "Your fare?" he asked. "I already gave it to." I paused. I turned around. The man was still by the door, calmly counting coins. He wasn't the collector, he was a homeless man. I thought about asking him to give it back, but I was too embarrassed. I just looked down, paid again, and kept the story for later.
He broke up with me while we were eating. We were eating at a quiet little place. We got the lunch special. He ordered pasta. I got chicken. Everything seemed normal. We were chatting about nothing important. No tension, no weird vibes. Then suddenly, he put his fork down and said, "I don't want to be with you anymore." Just like that. I stared at him, thinking he was joking. But he wasn't. He meant it. I asked, "Why now?" And he said, "Because if I didn't do it today, I was never going to." He finished his food like it was nothing, paid the bill, got up, and left. I just sat there, staring at my half-eaten plate, with 1,000 questions in my head. I never thought someone could leave like that. No fight, no drama, just gone.
I raised a baby for 6 months, and now they want to take her from me. My name is Laura, I'm 29, I live in Florida, and I don't have kids of my own. But for the past 6 months, I've raised a baby like she was mine. Her mommy cousin overdosed just days after giving birth. The father was also an addict and nowhere to be found. No one else stepped up, so I called child services, explained everything, and was approved as a temporary guardian. We signed the paperwork at the county office. I did everything right. Doctor visits, diapers, bonding time, routines. I bought her a crib, learned to prep her formula, got used to 3 a.m. feedings. Just when things were starting to feel stable, I got a call. The baby's paternal grandparents had filed for custody. They'd never visited, never asked about her. But under state law, they're considered immediate family. And I'm not. So now I'm fighting, with paperwork, medical records, witness statements. I don't know if it'll be enough. I just hope it is for her. Update. Turns out they didn't really want to raise her. They wanted control, and yes, probably the monthly support check that comes with custody. So I made them an offer, money in exchange for signing over legal rights. They agreed. I know it wasn't the right way, but I don't regret it. She's still here, sleeping in her crib in her favorite pajamas. And she's not going anywhere. My boss told me to be more proactive, so I was. My boss kept telling me I needed to be more proactive, to anticipate problems, to do more without being asked. So I started documenting everything. I recorded meetings, saved emails, took screenshots, archived all her passive-aggressive messages, like, "It's not urgent, but you should have done it yesterday." Just in case. That just-in-case moment came when she tried to throw me under the bus in front of HR. She said I never sent her a report. I showed the email timestamped. She said she never asked for a task. I played the voice note where she said exactly that. Every time she tried to blame me, I pulled out receipts. One by one, her arguments fell apart. And in the end, HR just said, "Thanks for your time. We no longer need you in this meeting." You know what she told me after? "You took it too seriously." Yeah, I did. Just like she told me to.
What's the best revenge you've ever gotten on an ex? My ex cheated on me and then told everyone I was some crazy, obsessed girl. Honestly, the cheating hurt, but the things he said about me, way worse. So yeah, I wanted revenge, and I went for the most unhinged idea I had. I knew his dad was single. I'd seen him a few times. I slid into his DMs, flirted a bit, and boom. We started going out. At first, it was all just payback. But then, I actually started falling for him. He treated me like I mattered. He listened, made me laugh, respected me. The day he took me to a family dinner and my ex saw me holding his dad's hand, priceless. He left the table without a word. 1 year later, I married his dad. I love him now, truly. But, yeah, it started as pure revenge, and it worked better than I ever imagined.
AITA for going to a buffet and eating as much as I could? I'm 25. I went to a buffet in my city that proudly advertised all you can eat. And since I'm a practical guy, I went straight for the expensive stuff. Meat, seafood, garlic shrimp, ribs. No rice, no potatoes, no bread. Why waste space? I took my plate to the hot station so they could heat it up, and that's when the drama started. The guy behind the counter told me I couldn't just take protein, that the buffet was meant for a balanced plate. That I had to add rice, potatoes, vegetables. Excuse me? I told him I'd already paid, so why did it matter what I ate? Then he hit me with, "If you want only meat and seafood, there's an additional charge." Ridiculous. I said fine, but I'd pay at the end. I kept eating. Another plate, same deal, nothing green on it, just flavor. When I finished, I walked up to the cashier and told them I wasn't paying that extra. I said if they wanted, they could call the cops, but they couldn't force me to eat rice. The lady looked stunned, sighed, and told me I was banned for life. I just said, "Perfect." Am I wrong? Because, to me, if something's all you can eat, there shouldn't be fine print.
I purposely ignored what my husband wanted for Father's Day. He's now ignoring me and won't accept my apologies. How can I make it up to him? My husband and I have been together for the past 9 years, and we have 2 kids, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. For Mother's Day, all I wanted was a free day. I wanted my husband to take the kids out so I could have the house to myself and relax. Instead, he got me and the kids tickets for a fun day out. It was fun, and we had a good time, but it annoyed me that he gave me the exact opposite of what I'd asked for. For Father's Day, my husband also wanted a free day to stay home and game all day. He games often with his friend. She'll come home from work, spend time with the kids until dinner, and then head up to his office to game for a few hours. Instead,
I got him and the kids cards to an arcade an hour away, with lots of tokens. I gave him the cards during dinner on Saturday so he and the kids could head out early and spend the whole day playing. I got my free day, and he and the kids made a lot of memories, but after the kids went to bed, we fought. He was upset that I ignored his wishes for Father's Day, and I was upset that he didn't realize he'd done the same to me on Mother's Day. He's been ignoring me ever since and won't accept my apologies. TLDR. I ignored my husband's wish to have a free day for Father's Day and got him and the kids a day out because he did the same thing to me on Mother's Day. And now he won't stop ignoring me or accept my apologies.
When I was a child, they filmed me crying, falling, being humiliated, and they went viral with it. I don't know if this counts as trauma or just a modern story, but here it is. I'm 19 now, and my parents were part of that early wave of family content creators. It started when I was around 9. Everything was for the camera challenges, pranks, my reactions when I got scolded, when I got sick, when I cried, all of it recorded, all of it posted. With titles like, "Our daughter did this, and you won't believe what happened." People commented things like, "So funny, best family ever, this made my day." I hated every second. One time I hid in the bathroom crying because they filmed me falling in public. I had blood on my knee and my mom just said, "That's how you learn." The video went viral. I asked them so many times to stop posting me. They said it was part of the business, that thanks to the content, we had vacations, gifts, nice things, that I should be grateful. When I turned 16, I made a secret account, just to read the comments. Some were from grown adults saying disgusting things about my body. My parents never deleted them. At 17, I moved in with my aunt. I cut ties. Recently, I found out those videos are still online, still getting views, still making money I never saw. And there I was, the face of a broken childhood.
Someone transferred $600,000 to my account by mistake. What would you do? Right after the money hit my account, a guy called me, clearly anxious and even a little aggressive, asking me to return the money. Here's the thing. I file taxes and usually end up owing. Any extra income that hits my account is flagged as occasional earnings, so I have to pay 10% tax on it. I explained this to the guy and told him that since I wasn't going to cover that tax out of pocket, I'd be sending him back $540,000 and keeping $60,000 to cover it. He got pissed and called me a thief. Since I'm not someone who likes to argue, I hung up, sent him $540,000, and blocked him. What would you have done in my place?
I thought about being a surrogate, but not out of generosity. I'm 22. I had my son when I was 16. Since then, life has been anything but easy. A few months ago, my partner left. No warning. Just disappeared and took all my savings with him. Everything I had worked for. He left me with a child, no money, and only 1 month of rent paid. I've been looking for work, but nothing. Sometimes no one replies. Sometimes they tell me they're not looking for someone with responsibilities. I started reading about women who carry babies for other people. In my country, it's not legal, but not illegal either. It's a gray area. And someone online offered me $20,000. $20,000. For someone like me, in a poor country, that's life-changing. I could pay my debts, secure a home for my son for a couple of years, maybe even study, start over. I spent days thinking about it. I joined forums, read stories, looked for contacts, but the more I read, the stranger I felt. Because I wasn't doing it to help someone. I wasn't doing it out of kindness. I was doing it because I was desperate. Because I had nothing left. And that shouldn't be the reason.
AITA for expecting my very rich sister to pitch in on my wedding after she said she would. Hi all, my F35 mother married my stepdad when I was 17. He had a daughter from a previous marriage, Lauren, F29. We were never close because when they moved in with us, Lauren was super clingy, would always follow me around, and basically stalked me in my own home. Your typical know-it-all barely left the house, so she basically had zero friends that weren't online. Lauren managed to graduate early and got into a really good college on scholarships, then earned a master's there as well. She's in engineering, and apparently, her college is one of the best for that. Right after graduating, she started earning a crazy amount. She's been rubbing this in my face ever since she got the acceptance letter. When she was home, she was always wearing the university hoodie, constantly talking about what she was doing in college, sending videos of robots and stuff into the family group chat. Now that she makes so much money, it's things like paying off our parents' car loans for Christmas, or getting extravagant gifts for everyone. We've had a few fights about it, but we always made up. So, last year in February, I got engaged to my fiancé, M32. I asked Lauren if she would pitch in, and she said she would help out. Knowing she had the money, I started planning my dream wedding. I was so excited. That was until I showed her the plans, and she pulled the rug out from under me. She asked how I was going to pay for it. My fiancé and I didn't go to college, so we don't earn much. And I reminded her that she said she would help. She's now saying she won't pay for anything, and at most, would only pay for my dress. I told her it was unfair to promise and back out after I'd already planned everything. She blew up at me over us not being close and blamed me for it. It takes two people to bond. But she claims it's all my fault. We argued, and now she's not even paying for my dress. All the wedding planning I've done has gone to waste. My parents are split, my mom says. Lauren should honor her word and help how she can. And my stepdad is mad I asked her in the first place, and brought up arguments from when I was 17. AITA for expecting her to do what she said? Update. Apparently, none of you value family. One of you tracked down Lauren and sent her this post, which was unnecessary and cruel. She texted me yesterday morning with this. Hey, someone sent me your Reddit post. I'm still processing everything you said about me. I knew you didn't like me, but I didn't realize you would go this far to destroy my character. I've never treated you as anything but a sister. Using my real name? All my personal information? So someone could just Google me and find me? You know I'm a private person. What if someone from work sees it? I left a comment in anger but deleted it. I cannot believe you made this public. As for the wedding, you're on your own. I'm not paying, attending, or participating. I don't deserve this. I'm blocking your number. Please don't contact me again. I've told Dad that if he wants to see me, he can visit ideally. We won't cross paths again. I talked to my fiancé and told him through tears what Lauren had done. Even HE turned on me. He started screaming at me, saying I shouldn't have asked her and that I never told him she was paying for the wedding. I tried to explain, but he just kept yelling. He called me names, screamed at me while I was crying, and then left. She has everyone wrapped around her finger. She's manipulative. I don't know who to turn to because everyone thinks she's perfect. My mom is the only one on my side. I'm staying with her for now. Lauren has been ruining my life since I was 17, and now she's ruined my relationship. I can't believe you people are siding with her when all she's ever done is destroy my life. She's off in another state, facing zero consequences. I found her work email from something she published and messaged her. She hasn't responded yet, but I'll let you know when she does.
Should I be mad at my boyfriend for sleeping between two women? My boyfriend and I went out drinking with one of his female friends. On the way back, we stayed over at her place, and he ended up sleeping between the two of us. Nothing happened, I'm a witness, but to me, it felt disrespectful that he chose to sleep in the middle and not on my side. When we got home, I brought it up and told him how I felt. He said I should have told him in the moment to switch sides, but I feel like that's something I shouldn't have to ask for. Am I overreacting, or is it valid that I felt upset?
They told me to decorate my desk, so I did. I work in an office where everything has to look nice. No joke, my boss emailed me because my desk looked too gray. She asked me to make it more cheerful, more alive, to add things that say something about me. So I bought a label printer and covered my whole desk with quotes that represent me. Stuff like, I don't get paid for this part. It's not a bad attitude, it's burnout. Is it 6 p.m.? Then I'm gone. Don't forget to smile while quitting in your head. My boss walked by, saw it, and said, "This isn't what I meant." I replied, "Well, you asked for something that reflects me, and this is it." She hasn't said a word since. Now people stop by my desk and leave snacks, like it's a shrine.
What's the biggest revenge you've ever gotten on an ex? I got him fired. My ex worked at a bar, and I had a solid job in government. I used to send them food, help them with permits, even push things through faster. They all loved me over there. Then I found out he cheated on me with a girl from the same bar. The worst part? Everyone knew, and no one said a word. They all covered for him. So I did what I do best. Sent in an inspection. Within a week, they got hit with everything. Expired licenses, violations, even the fire extinguisher was useless. The bar got shut down. Everyone lost their jobs.
Is it normal to be handed a child at the entrance of a nightclub? Because it happened to me. And I'm still not over it. I work the door at a pretty popular bar. The usual. Checking IDs, managing the line, politely asking people not to puke on the sidewalk. But one night, something happened that still blows my mind. This woman shows up dressed up, heels, short dress, and a kid. A boy who looked about 12. She looks at me and goes, "I just need to use the bathroom real quick. Can I go in?" I tell her no, minors aren't allowed inside. It's a bar. And she goes super casually, "I'll only be a minute. Can you just watch him for me?" I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. But no. She places the kid's hand on mine, says thanks, and walks right in. The kid didn't say a word, just stood there, looking at the ground. I asked if he was okay, and he said yes. I didn't know if I should laugh, call the cops, or what. 30 minutes go by, then an hour. I was about to go in and look for her when she finally came, out hair messy, giggling to herself, clearly drunk. She walks up to me like nothing happened. "Oh my God, thank you. You really saved me." Hands me a folded bill, a decent tip, grabs the kid by the arm, and they just walk off like it's a regular Tuesday night. I just stood there, money in hand, thinking, what the hell just happened? To this day, I don't know if it was neglect, extreme trust, or just another night at the bar door.
AITA for giving crappy Christmas gifts and ruining my marriage? I, 31F, married my soon-to-be ex-husband, M33, in 2018. My in-laws never liked me and made it clear. STBX, soon-to-be ex, insisted that they're just putting up a tough exterior and they'll grow to love me. To show how evil they are, one time I joined them for dinner and brought a cake I'd made because I was always raised to be a gracious guest. When I stepped into the kitchen and offered the cake to his mother as a thank you for inviting me, she took the plate over to the garbage bin, dumped it in, and handed me the plate back. When I told my husband what she did, he confronted her and all of a sudden the crocodile tears started and she claimed she grabbed the plate but didn't get a good grip. I let go too quickly, and it fell to the floor. So of course it had to be thrown away. My SIL confirmed that was what happened. My STBX owned his own business, and they called me a gold digger behind his back. Of course, they insisted on a prenup, which I didn't care about because I never thought my marriage would end and it would appease them and may allow them to finally treat me kindly. Nope. His business failed once COVID hit. We went through his savings and my own, trying to keep it afloat. I refused to go into debt to keep it going, so he closed it down. In 2022, he was suffering from really bad depression because he lost his business and couldn't find new work. He suggested we move to his hometown, closer to his family, so he had a larger support network. Against my best judgment, we did. He wanted to only work part-time while he tried to restart his business, so I became the main breadwinner. And as with most wives, I became the person in charge of buying gifts. Stupid old me thought buying them thoughtful, expensive gifts would finally make them see I wanted to be accepted by them. Gifts to us were a couple's gift, but clearly for my STBX only. Every holiday was spent with them, monthly dinners with the whole family. After a year, I realized that if I ever tried to talk or join a conversation, everyone would go quiet, so I just stopped talking when I visited. In early December, they finalized plans for Christmas. A few days later, my STBX said his family decided they didn't want me to join them for Christmas Eve dinner and Christmas lunch because I ruined the family vibe. I replied, fine, we'll do our own thing instead. My STBX sheepishly looked away and said he was still going to go. I was livid and so disappointed in him. That was the moment I knew my marriage was over. So I returned the presents I had bought for his family. In their place, I got one pair of novelty business socks for FIL, a supermarket brand bottle of shampoo for MIL, the nastiest perfume I could find at the dollar store for SIL. The most expensive gift was a large rawhide bone for BIL, and his wife's chihuahua, too big for it to get its jaw around, rendering it useless. I saved about $600 to put on a deposit for a new apartment. My husband come home from Christmas lunch telling me I humiliated him and embarrassed him in front of his family. I asked him why would he think I'd buy nice gifts for people who clearly don't like me and don't want me around. Served divorce papers last week. Remember how he was supposed to be a millionaire by now, so we had that prenup? STBX is not eligible for any of my savings. It was required to keep separate accounts, or alimony. He doesn't have money for rent and auto insurance. Not my problem anymore. Some of my friends and family and on my side and proud that I went out in a blaze of glory. Others are telling me I was being way too petty, which isn't really like me. So, AITA?
My coach tried to sabotage me. I was training for a regional competition, not professional, but it meant a lot to me. I had been preparing for months, paying everything out of my own pocket, following every plan strictly. I didn't have a personal coach, so I hired one someone recommended said he really knew his stuff. And yeah, he did. At first, everything seemed fine. He gave me tough workouts, corrected my form, kept me motivated. But as the competition got closer, things started to feel off. He began giving me half workouts, told me to take extra rest days, made me do weird drills that didn't make much sense. I assumed maybe it was part of a strategy I trusted that he knew better. Then, a week before the event, a girl I trained with casually said, "Did you know your coach is Valeria's uncle?" Valeria was one of the other competitors, really good, and yep, she turned out to be his niece. That's when everything clicked. He had been lowering my level on purpose, sabotaging me so she'd have a better shot. I didn't pay him the final part of our deal, and I reported him to the event organizers. Because it turns out you're not allowed to coach someone and have a close family member competing in the same category unless you disclose it. He didn't. I still competed. I didn't win, but I did well. And more importantly, I learned that some people will cheat, even when it doesn't make sense, and that you shouldn't stay quiet just to keep the peace. Eat it. Responding to a few comments, I'd rather not share details about the specific sport, just to keep this from escalating or getting more personal than it already is. As for Valeria, she came in second to last. The whole situation really affected her, and some people started calling her out for the attempted sabotage. It clearly took a toll. My ex cheated on me with his cousin, so I ended up with the cousin he hates. My ex never wanted to introduce me to his family, always making excuses. After almost a year, I found out he was cheating on me with his cousin, who wasn't even a cousin, just a friend he used to cover his cheating. Obviously, I dumped him. Months later, I met an amazing guy, and things got serious. One day, he invited me to a family gathering and told me his last name. It was the same as my ex's. Turns out, my new boyfriend was the cousin my ex hated for having everything he couldn't. I didn't hesitate. I showed up at that family gathering hand in hand with his cousin, and the look on my ex's face when he saw us was priceless. He went white, speechless, and his cousin didn't even dare to look at me. It was the most epic revenge I could have imagined. Did I go too far? For me, it was worth every second.
I dated the ugliest girl in class. Did I do the right thing? This happened when I was around 16, 17, during our last year of high school. She was very ugly and also overweight. I didn't want anything with her, but I gave in to social pressure. At first, I didn't like her, but little by little, she won me over. We had a great few months at the start, but halfway through the year, everything changed. Fights started happening, but I was in love, so I always tried to fix things. But her love turned way too toxic, wouldn't even let me say hi to other girls. On top of that, she was so problematic that she didn't have any friends. I was the only person she had, and that's why I didn't want to break up with her, because she was always alone. I added her to my friend group, which turned out to be a terrible decision. As time passed, things got worse. She hit me, trashed me on Facebook, and more. I couldn't take it anymore, but I still didn't break up with her because I felt bad that she'd end up alone, especially right before graduation. So I stayed in the relationship until the end of the school year. 3 days later, I ended things. After the breakup, she started spreading lies about me to everyone I knew so they'd turn against me. Many did, except for my 2 best friends. In conclusion, it was the worst decision I've ever made. What do you think? Did I do the right thing? Should I have done something differently? Thanks for reading.